Anna Strong. She never carried a musket. She never crossed enemy lines. She never met with British officers in dark taverns, but from the backyard of her Long Island home, she ran one of the most effective covert communication systems of the American Revolution, using nothing more than cloth, rope, and timing. To British patrols, it was just a laundry drying in the sea breeze. To George Washington, it was live intelligence signal moving under the enemy nose. Welcome to our republic.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political band,
sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not one small step for man.
Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Anna lived in Setauket on Long Island, just like Abraham Woodhull, deep inside British-controlled territory. The island was packed with loyalists, British soldiers, and informants. Patriot sympathy could get you arrested, or even worse. Her husband, Silas Strong, had already been imprisoned by the British for suspected Patriot activity and later escaped. That alone placed the Strong household on the British radar. Anna raised kids, managed the household, and lived under daily surveillance in a town where almost everyone reported to somebody. She was surrounded by enemy eyes, and she volunteered anyway. The Culper Ring had a problem. Moving intelligence across Long Island Sound required precise timing. Boats just couldn't appear on the shoreline without raising suspicion. Couriers couldn't ride openly, to the coast without British patrols noticing patterns. They needed a silent, visible signal that could be read without a single spoken word. A signal became Anna Strong's laundry. When intelligence was ready to move, Anna would hang a black petticoat on her clotheslines to signal that a message was waiting for transport. She would then display a number of white handkerchiefs to indicate which of several sheltered coves along the shoreline was the pickup point. From across the river, Caleb Brewster could observe the symbols through a spyglass, and he would sail to the designated cove under covert darkness and collect the intelligence that had flown through Abraham Woodhull and Robert Townsend. No written record, no spoken message, just fabric in the wind. And it was visible to the British and deadly accurate for Washington. British soldiers passed Anna's home regularly. Loyalist neighbors lived close enough to observe her daily routine. Laundry was one of the few activities that could be done openly without suspicion. It looked mundane, it looked domestic, and it looked harmless, and that's why it worked. But every time she hung the black petticoat, she was committing treason in full daylight. If the British decoded the system, she would not be imprisoned politely. She would be made an example. She kept doing it anyway. Through Anna's signal, intelligence flowed safely across the Sound to British hands. Again, British troop movements in New York, naval deployments along Long Island waters, loyalist conspiracies and raid planning, strategic intelligence leading to the Yorktown campaign, all of it. Entire military decisions moved on the timing of cloth on a rope. Soldiers marched because Anna hung laundry. Anna Strong never left a battlefield scar behind her. She left no diary of secret triumphs. She never told her neighbors what she was really doing from her backyard. After the war, she faded quietly back into ordinary life, like all the other ones did. For decades, her name was barely mentioned in the records of the Revolution, but Benjamin Talmadge and Washington always knew what that laundry line meant. It was a communication artery that never ever failed. Anna Strong's war never made noise. She never drew crowds and never filled newspapers, but it ran every day in plain sight right under British control. And it carried secrets that shaped movements of armies. This is a really, really short one. There isn't a whole lot of information on Anna, but I really appreciate you listening. Remember, history isn't boring. It's the story of a woman who turned a laundry line into a lifeline for the revolution. Appreciate your time. See you next time.